Hi guys, I'm Liz Spielman. I am Apartment Therapy's real estate editor, and welcome to Liz Splaining. If you know me, which you don't, you know that I have almost no tolerance for anything boring. So a lot of times when people say boring things to me, like the words personal finance, I usually tune out and start thinking about how much cheesecake will I eat in my life and what is John Hamm doing? But unfortunately, in real life, we have to do some boring things like saving up money and paying bills. So in order to make it a little bit more fun, I'm gonna try to Liz-plain it to you. Today's first topic is how to raise your credit score in 30 days. Sometimes life sneaks up on you really fast and you need to raise your credit score really quickly. Maybe you're applying for a new apartment next month. Maybe you're getting a mortgage. Or maybe you've just started dating someone who has a requirement that you have a 750 credit score and he's given you until Tuesday. No matter what, we can make this happen. But we should be realistic. Are you gonna go from a 550 credit score to an 800 credit score in a month? No. Can you go from the end of one bracket to the next? Yeah. Let's see how to do it. Number one, the first thing that you need to do is get a credit report, because how are you supposed to know what's wrong unless you see what's wrong? And you might ask me, Liz, where do I get my credit report? And the good thing is that you can go to, now write this down, annualcreditreport.com. By law, you're able to get your free credit report from each of the 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Also use a free credit monitoring service like Credit Karma or one that your bank gives you. So now that you have your credit report, the only thing that you really need to do is read it and see if there's anything that looks a little wonky there. Like they're saying that you didn't pay a bill to your doctor's office that you for sure paid, or they're saying that you have a mortgage and you still rent. Thankfully, your official credit report is gonna have the name, address, and phone number of the source, so all you need to do if there's an error is just call them up and say, hey, what's going on? So if there's a problem and you call it up and they fix it, boom, problem solved. Your credit score is probably gonna look a lot better in the next month. But let's say there's nothing wrong. Let's say that everything looks fine and your credit score still isn't as great as you want it to be. So the next thing that you need to do is look at your credit utilization. That's a big word for basically just how much of your credit you're using. Let's say that you have a credit card and your credit line is $10,000 and you're having a balance of about $6,000. That is way too high. Experts say that you should keep it around 30%. So drop that $6,000 to $3,000. Another thing that you can do if you can't pay it off that quickly is just call your bank and see if they'll give you more credit. So instead of having that $10,000, let's say they can bump it up to $15,000. Now the one thing that you definitely shouldn't do, which may sound like a good idea but isn't, is closing a credit account. Let's say that you're a relatively young person and you've had this credit card open for like 5 or 6 years and you really haven't had any credit cards open since then. You close it, that means that your credit history is only gonna be as long as your longest account is open. So let's say you opened up another credit card 3 months ago. Instead of it being 5 years old, it's now gonna be 3 months old, which is gonna lower your credit score. It's also surprisingly going to heighten your credit utilization because you have less line of credit open for you. So let's say if you have 2 credit cards, one with a $2,000 credit limit and the other with another $2,000 credit limit, and you close one of those, instead of saying that you have $4,000, you only have $2,000. So every dollar is going to actually raise your credit utilization. One surprising thing that kind of seems unfair, paying off your student loans actually also might lower your credit, and here's why. Student loans are installment loans, which means that they give you all of this money at once and you pay it off for however long in installments. And for a lot of people, it's one of the only installment loans that they have. Another type of installment loan is personal loan or a mortgage, which, you know, as a millennial, most people don't have. Because banks like what they call a mix of credit. When you pay off your student loan, they look at it and say, hey, this person only has one type of credit, which is a credit card, and we like a healthy mix. There's also one other thing that you can do that will actually quickly raise your credit score, but it's a little controversial. It's called becoming an authorized user. I'm trying to think of, this is a hard concept to explain. I feel like I need like people. Maybe I'll do this. So let's say you have a friend, a parent, a spouse, whoever it is, and they have incredible credit. They want to add you as an authorized user. It's essentially gonna let you take a good portion of their credit history on that card. If they have a low utilization rate and they're paying their credit bills on time, that information is now going to be reflected on your credit report. It's not always recommended because it essentially ties your credit to their credit, and their credit to your credit, vice versa. So let's say they don't pay a bill or their credit utilization is really high. That's gonna then become reflected on your credit, and because you have no control over it, sometimes it's not up to you. It was good until at the end of that. So if you're doing all of these things and your credit score still isn't improving, it's probably time to call in a professional. They're gonna have a lot more resources and can help you one-on-one and really show you how to make your credit score climb. Speaking of credit climbing, the best way to make it climb is really to just pay your bills every month and be smart with how you use your finances. Building up credit takes a lot of time. A lot of millennials don't have good credit scores simply because they just haven't been alive long enough. And that's it. That's really all you can do within 1 month to make your credit score climb. Now, if there's anything that you want me to list blame, let me know in the comments and make sure you subscribe.